In today's episode of the VARBAR, will Strizza respond to Mace after his shot in the last episode? Manchester is Spurs or White, whatever it is, man. As Tottenham blow past City, David Coote scandal, and Gary Neville's comments on Rashford.
Hey, Connie.
Check complete. Let's head over to the bar.
Yes. And we're back again with another episode of the VARBAR. My name is Andrew, aka Rapping Drew, the host with the absolute most joy in my heart, joy in my life. Just happy, man. Happy this weekend, man. Know what I mean? And I'm, of course, joined by my fellow compadre, Strizza. How you doing, man?
Yeah, man, I'm just as happy as you today, bro. I can't lie. Obviously, it's been a good weekend.
Good weekend, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, go on, carry on.
Now, I was gonna say, obviously, other than football aside, obviously, been kind of trying to chill out a little bit, not go out so much. I had a little wholesome weekend. I was actually dreading the football, to be fair. It's been a nice 2-week break, obviously, off the back of a loss from Ipswich. So I wasn't really looking forward to the game Saturday, man. But the boys pulled through, so yeah, man, it's been joyous for me.
Yeah, man, they did for sure, man. No, none of the Gooners are here today. No shock, of course. But you'll see no parts of Toast for at least 2 weeks. He's in the States, and no J Mace today as well. So you have to deal with us, man. Obviously last week we didn't have our regular episodes. We had our So You Think You Can Ball quiz. Obviously we can now announce that obviously Strizza is the first edition's champ. I mean,
come on, man. Normal.
Looking back at the episode, yeah, that was a blowout, man. In terms of you just used one round to clear them, which is mad because you started off slow. But how did you see that? Looking at
obviously, listen, every man in there thinks they know ball. Let's be real. Yeah. And as you said in the episode, I don't really always talk in there. I'm seeing a lot of agendas being flown around, a lot of people saying certain things. Me, I just keep it quiet. But when it comes to it, previously when we used to do it beforehand, I was always up there, man. So you get me? I was always confident. But I like the format, man. Obviously, my last round was horrendous, but the job was already done, innit? And I know Toast thinks he knows the most ball in the chat. Like, he is self-proclaimed ball knower, innit? So for him to obviously be there and hold it was nice for me, man. Can't lie.
Yeah, man, I'd love to see that as well, man. But yeah, man, if you listen to the pod, you know Strizza with these quizzes, you know, he's always near perfect as well. Yeah, shame on Toast and Mace, man, for not pulling through. But I can announce we will do another one of these as well, volume 2 for sure. And people have been coming to me as well, like, yeah, you always host these quizzes, you never participate. So for the next one, I'll make sure to participate and show you, man, you know, man's a historian in this. So I'll challenge Strizza in this. You get me? But yeah, man, let's start with the game of the game week, man. Obviously this weekend it was Man City against Spurs at the Etihad. City came into this game losing 2 in the Premier League, 4 overall in all competitions. So they had some wrongs to right. Spurs themselves came off the back of a 2-1 loss against Ipswich. So both teams, they had something to do. But, you know, on paper, you would look at it and be like, yo, City at home, City are wounded. After the international break, came at a right time for them. Spurs, they just lost to Ipswich. So, you know, this is the perfect opponent to play and get your confidence back. But little that people forget that Spurs are City's kryptonite. And whether City are good, whether City are bad, the only team really you can mention that has given it to City in terms of individual games is Spurs, to be honest. I think maybe you could put Liverpool there as well, but Spurs is the one that, you know, you guys always go there and beat them. You know, whatever style you play, whether you're on the front foot, whether you play defensively, more time than not, you got something for them. At this time, it was the same again. 4-0 win, blowout, absolute blowout, man. Like, talk to me, man. Like, yeah, talk me through it. How brilliant you were.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Obviously, I went into the game with zero confidence. I know that we're their bogey side. I know we've got results, like you said, against them in previous seasons, in different competitions. whether that be under Jose, Conte, Pochettino. Obviously, with Ange last season, we lost both games, but I think the game at the latter end of the season, Arsenal, the title was on the line. So that game, I don't know, I'm not going to say we threw it, but it was a different circumstance. But I think going off the back of the Ipswich result, I wasn't confident, man. I know that we can perform against City. I know we can perform against the bigger teams. We've done it. We beat Villa. We lost to Palace. We beat, we beat teams that we probably shouldn't beat, or people may think it might be a tougher game for us. And then we lose against the easier team. So part of that was in my mind, like, listen, maybe we could get a result, but I wasn't confident. We obviously go into the game. We know we've got no Romero, no Van de Ven. So straight away, I'm thinking it's Dragerson and Davis. Davis is obviously a fullback by trade. Hasn't played a game this season, or hasn't started a game at least in the Prem. Dragerson's looked a bit shaky. Haaland's coming off the back of a hat-trick for Norway. So like all these little things, De Bruyne is back, Grealish is back, they got their defenders back. So everything's kind of against us. And obviously before the game, I'm thinking, boy, like if we could just put on a performance, if we get beat, fine, but just don't get embarrassed. First 10 minutes, expected it to be like that. They were on the front foot. Obviously, they had the whole presentation with Rodri beforehand with the Ballon d'Or, flashing lights and all them thing there. Pep just signed his contract extension. So it was looking long. Happy. And listen, like there's happy.
Joy in their heart.
Joyous. Yeah, man. Like there'd been hella like things in the week about a potential fallout in the camp. Man, them have been for the chat saying it's happening again. And just falling out with some of the senior players and all of this, all of that. I don't know if it's true or not. But on the basis of the performance yesterday, they were 100% fighting for Andrew, fighting for the club. That's no doubt. First 10 minutes, we were backs against the wall. We got through it. I was seeing us trying to be brave, trying to get on the ball and play out, break the press. When we did that, we were kind of getting through without creating clear-cut chances. And when the first goal goes in, it's obviously a good ball from Dragerson over the top. Kulu does brilliantly to get there, shrugs off Guardiola, picks his head up. Maddison runs off the back of Gundogan. Great finish, great ball. And from that point, I feel like the man, they smelled blood. It was like, hang on. One little ball over the top, a little bit of like a good bit of movement. We can get at City. And then we grew in confidence. We started to move the ball. We started to pen them in a little bit. We're keeping it. We're recycling it. And I'm thinking, listen, man. And then Maddison gets the second unbelievable goal, that, by the way. Like the pass, the pass from Son, then the pass from Maddison into Son, then the reverse pass, the touch, the finish. It's just, I'm just like, raw. Okay, 2-0, half-time, just keep it sharp, because obviously we know we can see before half-time, we get the crowd up, Pep gets into them at half-time, we don't know what's going to happen, but it was imperative we got in at half-time. Listen, I checked my phone at half-time, man, are saying things, I'm getting messages, but I'm saying, listen, I've been here before, not just this season at Brighton, but many times. I think it was a couple of seasons ago we played City, we were 2-0 up, we lost 5-2 under Conte, so I've been here before. Yeah. And I know that if there's one team that can bottle a 2-0 lead, it's Tottenham. But let me see what the man them have got for me. I know they're going to come out second half and be firing, as in Man City. We get a goal in the first 5 minutes. We get the Porro goal, and it kind of just, the game's done in that point. I'm thinking, Rob, my foot's up. I'm comfy. They're losing their head. They're not, and the maddest thing about it is they're not even really creating chances. Like they're spamming crosses and they're trying and they're probing but they're not really breaking us down. Like defensively, I thought we were pretty solid. They had a few chances, but nothing clear cut. I thought Vicario, when he had to come for crosses, he came, he collected. There was a little bit of gamesmanship in there. Players going down, wasting a little bit of time. Things that you don't often associate with an Ange Postecoglou type Tottenham team in previous games. And I was loving it. You get me? And obviously, like after that, you can see the confidence. City were getting frustrated. They tried to bring on De Bruyne. They tried to do the usual spam crosses into the box and things like that. And he did make a bit of a difference. But all in all, man, like we kept, and I know they've obviously been going through it at the minute, but we kept arguably the best team in the league to next to nothing. And then obviously Brennan Johnson at the end, the way Werner ran past Walker like he was an OAP, like he didn't even, I don't know if he was just even, was he sprinting? I don't even know. The way he breezed past him and Brennan Johnson does what he does, gets at the back post for a tap in and 4-0 past the pad. Madness, lad. Listen, I've watched the highlights about 5-6 times and genuinely, it's probably the best performance I've seen in the Premier League in years. And people might say that that's a stretch, but I've never seen a team that, from a position that we were in, with both our top centre backs or favoured centre-backs out to go into that game off the back of a defeat against a newly promoted side and dominate City the way we did, like, hats off to them. And it wasn't
Wait. Are you saying the best Premier League performance of Spurs or just in general?
In general, it's up there. It's definitely our best performance under Ange. But I'm saying, in general, of recent years that I can remember, I don't remember a performance as good as that. From back to front. Man City have not lost a game at home since Brentford 2 years ago, just before the World Cup. They ain't lost a game at home. 52 games, right? We know how good City are. But at home, they're almost unbeatable. We went there and we didn't just beat them like a scrappy 2-1 or a deflected goal or whatever, like it was in the Champions League a couple of seasons ago, whenever we got through. A little bit of luck with VAR. And we went there and we played them off the park. Unbelievable performance. Unbelievable tactical masterclass from Ange. The boys dug in.
Hey,
Maddison,
I think the Gooners may have something to say about that because, you know, prior to this, they thought they had the best performance against City. Hey, that draw.
Do you know what's mad? I was saying this. Obviously, yeah, we know Trossard, the red card, whatever, maybe that changed their tactics, but we showed that you can go to City and you can play. Yeah, because before that, they weren't trying to play anyway. They were just trying to get corners, score from set piece. The usual Arsenal way to do things, right? We went there, we played the Ange way, yeah, and we played them off the park. And Maddison, Kulusevski, unbelievable. Like the back four, Vicario, every man on the pitch, even the subs, Johnson and everyone, Solanke was holding it up. Didn't stop running. Just, it was a perfect performance. I can't say anything more than genuinely, like, yesterday I was so proud of the boys, man. I was so proud. But
I think the only thing for me, I definitely hear what you're saying in terms of like, you know, we've not seen a team beat City like this at their ground. You know, that's facts. And obviously you guys could take that for sure. 4-0 at the Etihad is almost unheard of. However, especially in the first half, I think this game could have gone either way, to be honest. I think you guys were not lucky, but you guys were much more efficient in terms of your goal scoring. You scored your goals. They had a lot of chances as well. Vicario came up clutch with a few good saves in the first half specifically, a couple in the second half as well. And yeah, I think Spurs were just extremely efficient with their goals, man. Like even the chances that you had, the Maddison's second goal, that's a big chance, but not many people are scoring that, you know. Even like actual strikers, not many people are scoring that. That was a very clever goal, you know what I mean? So I feel like Spurs, they were very, very clinical, first of all. Second half, especially like you said, after the 3-0, it was game done from there. In terms of like, there was no way City were coming back. But also playing-wise, you guys were on top. That has to be said, you know what I mean? So kudos to Spurs for that. But in terms of going forward right now, how do you get over your inconsistencies? Because you beat Villa as well at their ground, I think, right?
No, it was at home.
Oh, it was at home. Sorry. You beat Villa. You lose to Ipswich. You lose to these dead teams, or let me not say dead teams, but teams that you should beat. But then you beat the big guys. Where I'm thinking, if Spurs are actually a serious team, we're talking about them as well in terms of, you know, going for the title or at least challenging, or being a definite for top four. But right now, the inconsistencies are too much. So how do you think you will get over your inconsistencies? Because it's mad.
Bro, I wish I had the answer, man. Like, I don't know. Like, if you look at our last 6 fixtures and you look at the results, you can't explain it. It's not just the results, it's the performances. They're chalk and cheese. They don't make sense. I don't know. I think obviously the biggest thing for me is being able to adapt the way we play. So I'm all for playing a high line, and I'm all for trying to, you know, condense the pitch and try and press from the front, which is what we've been doing. We're the best in the league at it, statistically. We do win the ball a lot in the final third. But when teams do break the press, because they will, because there's a lot of quality in the Premier League and teams are going to break the press every now and then, it's about how you react and how you deal with that. You can't be left 2v2 at the back all the time because you get punished. And it's just a case of, if we're going to press from the front, can we maybe be 3v2 at the back if we're going to play that way? Or little subtle changes. Maybe rather than a Dogi and Porro going, can one go, one sit? Or if they're both going to go, can the double pivot sit? Rather than the 2 6s or Basuma and Sarr as yesterday pressed together, can one maybe drop? Just like being a little bit more clever, a bit more cute about it, because I don't think we were gung-ho yesterday. I think we showed City respect, but at the same time, we tried to play our football. And I think you have to show teams respect in this league. Whether it be Man City or whether it be Ipswich Town, they've got players with quality that can punish you. So I think the biggest thing for me is just adapting things slightly, not being too gung-ho. And remember, like, we finish games quite well. So we don't have to win the game in the first half. It's 90 minutes. If we go in at half-time, I don't remember the last time we went in at half-time 0-0. We either go 1-0 down, or yesterday, obviously, we were 2-0 up and happened against Brighton as well. A lot of the time, we tend to concede goals early. I think the last 15 games at home, 13 of the last 15, we've gone 1-0 down. Change that around. Go 1-0 up instead, and then you can control the game. If you're constantly chasing, you take more risks, and then that leaves the back door open. So I'd like to see that. But also, I think it's a player mentality issue. Like, don't just get up for the big games. Don't just get up for Man City away under the lights. You know it's on Sky Sports. Don't just get up for the games that are against teams, your rivals, where you can take points off them. Get up for the Ipswiches. Get Fulham next week. Be up for the game. Don't take it lightly, because Fulham ain't no mugs in this league. And I think that's the biggest thing. And Ange has got to instill that in the players. And if I could go into the dressing room and chat to these men and be like, listen, there's no point in beating Man City last week if you're going to lose to Fulham, because that 3 points is now irrelevant. It's redundant, right? So that's the biggest thing. I think getting up for the bigger games, adapting the tactics slightly, but almost having belief. They must believe now. I'm not saying we're going to challenge for the title, but you have got to believe that you can push as far. You just beat the best team in the league. Maybe not based on this season, but before the season, a lot of people's favourites for the league. You've just beaten them in their own backyard 4-0. If that don't give you confidence, I don't know what will. So that's my biggest thing, man.
To like go on a run and do the business, man, for sure. I agree, man, with everything you said. I just want to pivot on Man City at the moment because, like you said, prior to the start of the league, they were everyone's favourites. They came off a back of 2 losses in the league, 1 loss in the cup, 1 loss in the Champions League, so 4 losses. So they haven't tasted a dub in a minute. Now, obviously, all credit goes to Spurs for sure. That they got the dub regardless. But City are in a very, very bad spell. And for me personally, I don't know how you see it, but for me personally, I know Rodri is a big factor, but Rodri is not the reason that Spurs won. I think a lot of people still want to use the Rodri thing by saying, if Rodri was there, Spurs wouldn't have done this. I think that's taking a piss on the way Spurs played and the way Spurs forced City to make those mistakes, because City made mistakes. They made mistakes. They were sloppy. They were not up for it. They lost battles. They lost the 50-50s. You know what I mean? They didn't sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Walker didn't sprint to match Werner. So let's give Spurs the respect. But in terms of City, like, how do you see them going forward? Because their next game is against Liverpool at Anfield. Like, how do you see them going forward? Like, is it do or die for them? What's his name just signed a new contract, so he's not getting sacked when this is like sack worthy if this was any other club or any other manager. Like, how do you see it for them?
If they play like that against Liverpool, they won't get anything. And before you know it, they'll be out of the title race. Because, as you mentioned, there's no intensity. The players aren't sprinting. They're not working. You can make mistakes. Like, we saw the second goal, Guardiola gives the ball away. You make mistakes. It's how you recover. It's how you react. Kyle Walker doesn't sprint to get back in. The first goal, Gundogan loses his man, doesn't sprint back. Yeah. There's no communication between players. Now, I can appreciate Rodri's importance. We all know it. The stats say it for themselves. We know how much of importance. He's the best 6 in the world, right? But you adapt. There's a lot of teams in the league that lose important players and they adapt. The biggest thing that I found alarming, if I was a City fan, is the lack of positional awareness for the players that they've got. So Lewis is playing in midfield, right? I don't know whether Lewis is a fullback or a midfielder, but the lack of awareness is alarming. Defensively, being able to track runners is a given, right? Yeah, City are good on the ball, but you've got to work hard. And if you don't work hard, you're never going to get success and get results. So the biggest problem for me is you've got Gundogan in there, he's got no legs, right? Foden looks half the player, isn't working hard. Walker looks like he's finished, or his legs have definitely gone, at least. There's obviously Guardiola's been a bit of a mainstay at the back, but There's a lot of switching of centre backs, which again doesn't help with team cohesion because you've got different centre backs playing each week. Yeah, granted they've had injuries, but I thought Kanji was off it yesterday, just come back from injury. Maybe that was a factor. For me, I don't know if Pep knows his best 11. What is De Bruyne? De Bruyne, when he come on, people are saying he should be going to Saudi because he ain't at it no more. I think it's harsh, but he's been injured. He's a bit older. They are a bit of an Asian squad. A lot of the players are, in their 30s, and maybe that's a factor. Maybe they haven't got the same motivation that they've had. They've won the league the last 4 seasons. I don't know what it is, but I think the most alarming thing is, despite the fact that players are getting older and you've got injuries to certain players, you've got to work. And that comes from obviously within. You've got to work hard. And when things are going against you, you've got to stand up and be counted. And look, you can't write off City. Yeah, they deserve the respect because they won the league the last 4 seasons. And they've been here before and they've come back and they've won the league. We're 12 games into the season. But I think the biggest concern is maybe not knowing your best 11. If Haaland doesn't score, I couldn't tell you who's going to score. Savio hasn't scored a goal this season. Has Foden scored? Maybe he's got 1 goal, but nowhere near the goal involvements he had last season. Obviously, Doku was out, but he isn't really renowned for his goal scoring. Bernardo Silva isn't renowned for his goal scoring. Gundogan, since he's come back, hasn't really done much. So it is pretty much, I know Haaland's their main man, their striker, but if he's not firing, and he maybe could add a couple of goals in the first 10 minutes, which I can admit, then where are the goals going to come from? And they are so easy to cut through. City, we were cutting through them time and time and time again. And Fulham done the same thing to them. And Brighton done the same thing to them. And Bournemouth done the same thing to them. And you're just cutting through them. And City, it was never that. Teams are smelling blood. So I think they got to get back to basics. And maybe it'd be a little bit more defensive. Maybe, we're not as good without Rodri, granted, but we can still be solid. We can still dig in. Maybe he's got to change the tactics. Maybe he's got to change personnel. But listen, Pep's the best manager in the world, man. So I'm sure he'll find a solution for it.
Yeah. I think with City as well, man. I think, well said, to be honest. But I think with City as well, man, they deserve the grace, man. I think one of the main things is obviously the Rodri thing. They're easy to cut through. A lack of DM in any team is peak. Even at Liverpool, despite Gravenberch, we'll touch on Liverpool later. Despite Gravenberch doing this thing, the lack of a natural good DM, it's costly. It can cost you, and especially if your defensive structure is not cohesive, they're not doing their job, it can get peak. And this is what you see with City at the moment. Aging squad as well. Like, they have a bunch of players who are not 30 plus, but 32 plus. You know what I mean? So that is an issue in itself. Players are not motivated. Players are in the last year, their contracts, last 2 years in the contract. So I think part of, Pep Guardiola signing a 2-year contract is he's probably going to oversee a wholesale change or what do you call it again? A transition period for City at the moment, because they need a few changes, man. They need that. It needs a new makeup. Again, you can't write them off, man, because like I said, they've been here a few times. They can easily go on a run again. I would not be surprised if Rodri is fit come February, and it's all business as usual, man. But yeah, shout out Spurs. City, fuck City. I'm happy that they lost. I'm happy that Spurs won. But that Spurs were impressive, man. Kudos to you guys, man. Any last words?
Nah, I think you summed it up perfectly, man. But I think the last thing I'd say is buzzing with the result, obviously, but just don't let me down next week, because it'll be for nothing. And this whole thing, this excitement, it will feel again like Spursy. It will come out again, and I just don't want to hear that. Let's just go on a run now, man. Christmas, there's games, they come thick and fast. You go on a little run, you see where you're at by Boxing Day, you never know. So let's just go on a run and just keep winning.
100. Let's tackle the rest of the games, man. Early kickoff on Saturday, Leicester versus Chelsea, ended in a 2-1 win for Chelsea. Bit of a shit game, personally. I don't know if you watched the game, but Nico Jackson, Enzo scored, Jordan Ayew a penalty. Late rally from Leicester towards the end to try and get the equalizer, but it wasn't to be. Steve Cooper got sacked during the Liverpool Southampton game today as well. They kept that they kept that a bit quiet. But do you think it's fair that he got sacked? Because
It's a bit
Leicester are
harsh,
not.
man.
Yeah, man, they're 16th above the drop zone.
I think it's a hard sacking. I'll be honest. I know that they've been poor, and I thought for spells in the first half of the Chelsea game they were terrible, and the fans were getting on his back and the team's back. But what do you expect? I understand you come up from the Championship last year, you won the league with a different manager. It's obviously gone on to Chelsea. A new man's come in who's obviously had experience in the league with Nottingham Forest. You're not going to be up in the top half. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. There's not been a lot of financial backing either. You're playing with Wout Faz at the back. You know what I mean? And players that, you know, you've signed Winks and Skip from Tottenham. But like you're signing a load of players that, you know, they're probably Championship level. So to be 16th, I think is where you should kind of be. And, you know, for them to sack him, I think it's harsh. But I guess a club would only sack a manager if they've got something in place, right? So we'll have to wait and see what they got.
Yeah. I was talking to one of my friends about this as well, and he was saying that he agrees with the sacking, basically saying that, you know, when you look at Leicester and when you look at their games, you don't know, nothing in their team excites you. No one excites you. No one's looking like a match winner. They look, every single game that they've played, they look like they're gonna lose. They've won. I think they're 2 wins. They've won it at the death. I think one against Southampton. Then another one I can't remember, but Everton, I think. Yeah, there's been like late rallies, and it's like, I agree, man. I look at this Leicester team, and I'm like, who's there? What's there? Yeah, Jamie Vardy, but it's not the Jamie Vardy from a couple of years ago. Jordan Ayew, the less said, the better. I mean, Wild Fast, yeah, the whole squad is like, it's just dull to me, man. And I think they will relegate, man, even though they're in a good position. If they don't get better players in January or a better manager in January that can steer the ship, I think Ipswich and Wolves will pip them, man, and they will definitely overtake them, and they'll get in the drop zone, man. Even Palace, to be honest, because they're good enough as well, possibly. But yeah, man, Steve Cooper got a sack. Chelsea got the win. I think Chelsea are third now as well on goal difference. Oh no, sorry, on goals scored. So shout out Chelsea. And then the next game, Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. Arsenal as well, on the back of, I think, 2 losses as well. Or was it 1 loss? No, a loss and a draw. So they dropped crucial points as well, but they got back to winning ways to high-flying Nottingham Forest with a 3-0 win. Bukayo Saka, a wonderful goal. Martin Odegaard with Bukayo Saka is back on our screens. Thomas Partey with a wonderful goal after coming in. And Ethan Nwaneri, man. Every time that guy plays, man, he looks like the real deal for them, man. And again, I said this a couple of weeks ago. I think he should have played in that run where Odegaard wasn't local, man. I think they should have just flung him in my personal opinion, because if you're good enough, you're old enough, in my opinion. But yeah, Arsenal back to winning ways. Your enemies. Anything to add?
Yeah, man. Obviously, they got Odegaard back now, and you know they've been crying out for him. And listen, he's a class player. He's going to make a difference. He make a difference in anyone's team. So, you know, I'd be surprised if they weren't to go on a run now. They've got some decent fixtures coming up, and you know, with with City and Liverpool playing next week, there's a chance for them. You know, one of you might drop points. Obviously, if you win it keeps the gap, but if City were to get a result, it keeps them in it. So, yeah, it's a good win for them. And I hope it doesn't continue, but I do think they're probably going to go on a run now, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree. I think they can easily go on the run. However, still not overly impressed with Arsenal. I think Nottingham Forest, I don't know if Chris Wood was injured, but I think they made a mistake of not starting him. They started Taiwo instead, who just looked lost between Gabriel and Saliba. But as soon as Chris Wood came in, you saw that, you know, Nottingham Forest, they tried to force something and they tried to get more dangerous, but it was a little too late, man. And I think Arsenal were comfortable. But yeah, shout out Arsenal with the 3-0 win. Villa versus Crystal Palace ended in a 2-2 draw. Barkley and Watkins with the goals. Ismail Sarr and Devaney with the goals for Palace. Palace still in the bottom 3. I think no one's expected this. Do you see Palace relegating? Quickly, would you see Palace doing?
Nah. Palace have got enough quality. I know they were missing Eze at the weekend. I think they've got enough in them. Haven't been impressed with them, but I think there are definitely 3 teams worse than them in the league, so they'll be fine, I think.
Yeah. What about Aston Villa though? Because
You see Villa
They're in
at
horrible
the
form.
minute. I don't know what look, we know Champions League and the league having that is always a difficulty. It has been Newcastle last year, for example. It can be a struggle. They're obviously doing well in the Champions League at the moment, winning 3 from 4. Their league form has been indifferent.
No wins in 4.
I think defensively they're so easy to get at. I think Villa last season defensively were a lot better. They were strong. I remember them keeping City out at home. They beat obviously Arsenal away at the back end of the last season 2-0, and it was more like Emery masterclasses where they were threatening in the final third, but you couldn't get much out of them. But this season, teams are just cutting through them, and it's happened. Like obviously, we were 1-0 down against them and hit them for 4. Palace yesterday scoring twice. Bournemouth, they conceded a late goal. I don't remember the last time they kept a clean sheet. I think they've had one all season. And if you can't stop goals from going in, you're never going to be able to win games every week because you can't always score 2-3 goals a game. So that's definitely something that needs to be looked at, because I think I read on socials that Emery has been working really hard to find a resolution for it, and he's very meticulous. Like he stays behind, and like how most teams have like a match analyst. He has one, but he also analyzes it himself and things like that, and he does it a lot of it himself. So he was thinking of a plan to basically try and like nullify the opposition. So I was thinking, okay, they might go on a little run now, maybe, but it looks like same old. Very easy to cut through. Yeah. I think Palace had a few other good chances in the game. So, yeah, I don't know what to make of them, man.
Yeah. No wins in 4, man. It's. I think it's definitely the combination of Champions League and the league as well. But at the same time, man, I feel like they have enough quality to do a bit better than this, man. Like, especially their home form as well. You should be beating Palace at home, but let's see, man. High flying Brighton, have beaten Bournemouth away, 2-1. Joao Pedro and Mitoma, masterclass for both of them, to be fair. Put Bournemouth to the sword. Brighton as well, man. They're 5th, equal points as Chelsea and Arsenal. And I was thinking about this year. If there was like another team, obviously now in these couple of years it's unheard of, but if there's another team in the league who could potentially do like a Leicester 15-16, it would have to be Brighton. You know what I mean? In terms of like the team that they have, the players that they have, the style of play, and the kind of results that they can churn out. They've been kind of on the cusp of breaking into the top 4 for the past couple of seasons now. And I don't know. Do you think that they're able to do it this season? Because I personally think they can, if they keep going.
I think them. Firstly, I want to shout out Hurts a lot, because I think when they lost to Zerbi, it was a same old Brighton. I mean, they either lose their players, like their better players, or they lose their managers. Because same thing happened with Graham Potter before that. So it was like a case of, as a young manager, 31, I think they always talk about his age. There's some players in the squad that are older than him. Welbeck, for example, like how is he going to stamp his authority on the team? But they look better than he did last season, because under the Zerbi sometimes it was a little bit chaotic. But there was that one game they played against Chelsea where it was a little bit mad, but they've seemed to tighten things up a little bit now. And I think them not having European football is a big thing. You know what I mean? They're playing the one game a week, and we've seen in previous seasons when teams don't have European football to compete with as well, it's definitely an advantage, and they've got quite a decent squad. But I just think the teams ahead of them, like you obviously think of like Liverpool, City, Arsenal are pretty much guaranteed to get top 4. Chelsea, us, and them. There's a spot there. There's a spot there. I think Chelsea being in the Conference League, they don't play their main squad in that, so they got a bit of an advantage. I think we're going to try and win the Europa League. That's another avenue to obviously get Champions League football. So there's a chance, man. But I don't know if they've got the players. Their players aren't as good as ours, for example, or Chelsea's, and that would be the only thing. I don't know what you think, though. Do you think they're better? Like if you were to look at their 11 and then look at our 11 and look at Chelsea's 11, I know it's a squad game, but I'd personally say that our 11 and Chelsea's 11 are better than Brighton.
I mean, we could do it quickly now. So let's do like a combined thing. So goalkeeper, Vicario, not Chelsea's. Who's Brighton got?
They got Verbruggen.
Oh, for Brugge. Okay, I'll take Vicario though, but for Brugge, He's out.
Yeah.
He's there. He's there. Okay, cool. Left back.
Udogie, Cucurella, or Estepinian. Cucurella's been good this season. I'm not gonna lie. Cucurella's been good this season.
He's a Euro winner, but you're not taking Cucurella, are you?
I like Udogie. That's a tough one. That's a toss-up. But
Let's say Cucurella.
Yeah.
Okay, centre backs. Mickey, I think Mickey and who's they got? Who's Brighton got?
They got
definitely not Chelsea.
Van Heck and Dunk.
Oh, Van Heck. Van Heck has been good.
Yeah, he has been good. Van Heck has been good.
Van Heck has
maybe
been good.
maybe they're both Dutch. They're both Dutch as well, man. Maybe Van Hecker and Van der Ven.
Mickey and Van Heck and Van der Ven. And then right back, they got Veltman. You guys got Porro. Chelsea got Gusto.
Don't even say Reece James because that guy is a full-time hospital patient. Yeah, I'll probably say Porro.
Porro. All right, DM. I'm going with Carlos Baleba.
Over Caicedo.
Or Caicedo. Now you can have 2 DMs and then 1 cam.
Yeah.
Caicedo, Baleba, and then Madison. Who's their cam? Joao Pedro. Yeah, they use Joao Pedro. Hey, it's tight, you know. It's tight. It's tight, boy. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. I think what is gonna be between the three of you guys is like who's gonna be the most consistent. And at the moment, the one that's looking to be the most consistent is probably Chelsea. They have the best papers to be the most consistent. But Spurs, they definitely got the potential to do it as well. Brighton, we've seen evidence of them falling off a cliff every time we go past Christmas. You know what I mean? So it's up to this new manager to see if he's able to sustain that, man. But I would like to see Brighton getting into that top 4, man. Next game, Everton v Brentford, 0-0. I mean, I don't know. I didn't even watch Everton like that, man. But I know that they're first of all a very tough team to beat this season, and they don't concede much. So that's something to write home for them, I guess. 13 goals conceded, yeah. It's one of the best in the league, to be honest. But I don't know,
they're boring, aren't they? They're just dead. Like,
yeah.
They don't score goals. They don't concede much. Like, there's one thing you can guarantee: Everton is lost a match of the day on a Saturday night because they don't offer nothing. Like, they're just, I don't know.
Nah, 17 goals conceded. Oh, so they do concede quite a bit. 10 goals scored.
Yeah,
which is
10 goals scored in 12 games. Bro, get them out of the league, man.
Not good enough, man.
I know. I would honestly rather watch like Ipswich and Southampton. At least have a go. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, facts.
Everton are so dull.
Facts, man. Wolves, man, climbed out of the relegation zone with a 4-1 win against Fulham away, man. Very impressive win. I think we could all agree that Wolves have been due this particular result, man. And I think it's back-to-back wins for them as well. So shout out them. Gary O'Neill's finally getting results, matching the performances. Matheus Cunha getting on the score sheet.
Did you see his goals? His goals were serious.
I seen his goals, yeah. He's a good player, man. He's a player.
I like him. I like him. I think he can get a move in the summer. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, would you
He's
take
too
him?
good to play at Wolves. Do you know the difficulty with us? Obviously, we've got Kulusevski, we've got Maddison. Like, I don't think he's an out-and-out 9. Like, he's like a second striker, like a 10, but can play anywhere across the front, just centrally, wide. He's just a good player, isn't he? He can play anywhere. I don't know if he would fit us, but I'll tell you where he would be good is United. In that system that Amorim wants to play, with like the kind of the 2 10s, I think he'd be perfect because he's a great ball carrier. He's techie, but he can finish as well. So, he's a good player, man. I like Wolves. I like Gary O'Neill as well, so I'm kind of glad that he's turned it around a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good shout, man. United. You know, one thing I like about Cunha, like players that just ras it, that just shoot. When they have the opportunity to shoot and score, that's Cunha, man. So shout out Cunha, man. And hopefully Wolves get more points on the board. And then we'll go over to the Sunday game. First game of Sunday games was my beloved Liverpool away at the St. Mary's. For the record, Liverpool we always struggle at St. Mary's. Always, St. Mary's is not a great away ground for us. We do get wins, but we always do it the hard way. And again, this today it was the same story again, man. 3-2 win. Mo Salah with two goals, Soboslai with another goal, and then Armstrong and Matheus Fernandes for them. I thought personally, their penalty, the first one, they should have had a penalty when Konate pushed them. That should have been a penalty. But the one that they actually received a penalty, that shouldn't have been a penalty. That was outside. I don't care what anyone says that this was on the line, You could clearly see the contact was just before the line. You could clearly see that, bro.
Nah.
So I was like, I'm not having that. But, Kelleher, top keeper, he saved the penalty. Nearly got the rebound as well. Nearly got it, but slipped through his legs. And then the 2-1. The 2-1 killed me, man, because that was a brilliant, brilliant counter-attack from them. We don't necessarily... This season, we don't really concede goals like this. So I was quite shocked. The way we were open, the way Dibbling kind of moved, the way he moved us. Open space, Armstrong controlled the ball, he didn't control the ball well, but he recovered well, and then Fernandes was totally free. This season, a goal like that is completely unheard of to concede for us, man. So I was quite shocked with that, man. But at the same time, I was quite confident, as I have been this whole season, of still getting a win. It was sweaty, but we still got the job done, man. So happy with that, man. But yeah, you as a neutral, man, how did you see that game?
I thought Southampton gave you a really good game, man. Like, I think obviously, so I'm all for teams being brave, trying to play it from the back. It's refreshing to see like a Russell Martin, a young manager, trying to stamp his philosophy, similar to Company last season at Burnley, trying to play it from the back. But at the same time, know your place in this league. Yeah, when the ball needs to go, it needs to go. Yeah, McCarthy. A few times. It's happened previously anyway in the season. I know Ramsdale's out for a month. Listen, sometimes it's got to go. And that first goal, he's rolled it to a man edge of the box. He's not comfortable. He's not on the half turn. He ain't checked his shoulder. He's gone back. He shanked the clearance. It's just, you go 1-0 down. It's like, so for them to come back into the game, get the goal. I do think it was a penalty personally, but whether it's on the line or not, listen, that's obviously debatable. But I think it was. I don't actually think the push was a penalty, weirdly. I'm the opposite to you, but nevertheless, obviously, they tucked that away. I thought the second goal, I thought Dibbling throughout the game was good, man. I thought he was really bright, like he's young, he goes at his man, but the composure to switch it, like you say, for the second goal, and it was a tidy finish. But you just never fancy Southampton because Liverpool still looked dangerous. There were a few times where like the final pass wasn't just right, and it doesn't feel right at the moment. If Mo Salah hasn't got on the score sheet, you always know he's going to do something or influence a game in some way. So at 2-1 with 30 minutes to go, Salah hasn't scored. There's probably something there for him. And obviously, the ball over from Gravenberch. I don't know what McCarthy's doing. I don't know whether he thought the ball was going to come into him. I don't know whether he doesn't know that Salah's rapid. I'm not sure, but he's come out. Doesn't need to come out. And obviously, like it's a tidy. Whether he meant to finish it like that or as a first touch, I don't know. But and then you just know Liverpool going to get the winner. And obviously, the penalty again. I don't know what the guy's doing at the back post. Whether he misjudged the cross. It was a bit windy today, innit? So I don't know what he thought, but Salah obviously puts it away perfectly. I just think, I see it as a game where I'm similar to you. Like, I just fancy Liverpool to win it, despite being down. I think there was enough time in the game. I think there was he made 2 good changes. I thought I would have taken off Nunes, to be fair, because I thought he was pretty anonymous today. But he brought on Diaz, McAllister. Who else did he bring on? Was that it? Diaz and McAllister?
Yeah, that was it. And then later,
and obviously, like,
Nunes.
Yeah, and then obviously, they changed. Yeah, they changed the game, and I think the thing is with Liverpool, they got Salah, and when you got that man, you got match winner. You got someone that it don't matter. It don't matter the time of the game. He's gonna get on the score sheet, and the form he's in right now is enough to say, next week he'll do it again because he's a big game player, and that's the difference. Yeah. Obviously Haaland's got the dip of form. You could argue that Saka's the man for Arsenal to be that guy, but Mo Salah is the best in the league. You have the best player in the league, and he steps up again. And yeah, man, you're just lucky to have a player like him. And if I was anyone connected with the club, I'd be getting him to sign on because he don't look like slowing down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%, man. Definitely agree, man. I think like in terms of on the Liverpool side, there was only 2 players that had a at least a 6, 7 out of 10. The rest were pretty poor, and that was Salah and Gravenberch as well. I want to shout him out as well for this game because he was like, apart from like 2 moments, one was the goal where we conceded, where he was, he was completely lost. He should have been there, but obviously it was a counter attack, so he must have been in the other box. And then there was another time, I think it was in the first half, where Southampton just cut through us easily as well, and he was nowhere to be found as well. So, but other than that, man, Gravenberch, he's just what I want from a 6. Like what I need, what I'd like to see from a 6 is obviously Caicedo. What Caicedo's doing, that's why. But I think Gravenberch, a few levels below that, he's there, man. He's definitely very progressive, very positive, very strong in duels as well. I didn't know he had that side in him where he can actually win duels. I don't know if you saw, like, as soon as we went 2-1 down, he stepped it up again, man. He was the one that was being aggressive, front foot, you know what I mean? And I think he definitely needs his credits for getting us back into that game as well. I thought our centre backs, Konate and Van Dijk, were poor today. Like
I thought Konate
that
poor.
Onu, that Nigerian Donny, that guy was moving. Hey, that Donny, he was moving to us today, especially Van Dijk. And Van Dijk tried to match him with the physicalness.
Yeah.
And he lost the ball for the penalty. You know what I mean? I was like, don't do it. Just play your game. You don't have to show that you're. Sometimes someone is stronger than you. You get me? He's Nige. Yeah. He's Nige.
But he's been getting that hard for you, fam.
Yeah, bro. Fam. So, yeah, Van Dijk, that's one of the few times I saw Van Dijk like struggle physically against someone. You know what I mean? And shout out to Onu, I can't even pronounce his name, Onuanu, something like that. But yeah, he was decent, man. Konate as well, like you said, shocking, man. He was probably his worst game this season. Robbo, the least said the better, man. We need to get a left back in January. I've been saying that. We need to get a left back in because that guy is past his prime, man. I know you want to say something.
No, I was gonna say I agree on. Konate's been good this season, so I don't want to. I know there's always, you know what it's like in a chat, man. Konate, Saliba, Konate. It's always back and forth. Obviously, he captained France the other day. Ken is putting things in the chat. But yeah, it wasn't his best day, even from early when he got booked. And I don't know what he just kind of was running with the striker, and he just pushed him. It was like he didn't fancy him physically. Yeah, like it was like, and Konate don't really get beat in the channel like that 1v1. Usually you back him. So, but yeah, Robertson, I was gonna say, you need to sign a. It's not. Left back is a tough position to find a player at the minute. There's not many outstanding left backs. I know you've been linked with that Kirkes at Bournemouth, and I think he's decent. I'm not too sure about defensively, but going forward he's good, and he's up and down. But I think that could be where, I don't know. I'm going to ask you whether you think you're going to win the league. I want to know what you think. But if you were going to go win the league, that's the position that, right, maybe beforehand it would have been a 6, but Gravenberch is doing his thing now. Maybe this left back, that's what we need to go and strengthen 100% because he looks miles off it.
Hondo, man. I think for us, like, first of all, it's gone to a point that I preferred Tsimikas. And I was speaking to the Liverpool guys earlier. I said, play Robertson this game. Tsimikas needs to play City and Madrid. I don't want to see Robertson play either of those games because he's become such a liability. And he's been a liability for a minute. People focus on Trent, but if you watch Liverpool games, Robertson been a liability for us for a minute. So now he looked completely cooked, man. Kirkus and Alt-Nouri, those are the 2 left backs that I'm looking at that I think, they can take over from him, man, because at least they're not the best defensively. I'm not saying that, but they're better than Robertson and they're good going forward as well. So that's what it is, man. In terms of winning the league, yeah, definitely a left back, but we also need, I don't know if we can get that in January, but we also need another striker. I think Darwin Núñez, like you said today, completely anonymous. If you saw his stats in the international break against Brazil, that guy got hooked in the first half. He had like 12 touches in the whole game. He did nothing. Absolutely nothing for Uruguay. Again, this game, he had like 11 touches in the first half. Did absolutely nothing for us. And I feel like...
Nah, not to cut you out. I was going to ask you on Darwin because obviously, like, I'm a striker and I obviously look. That's the main thing I look at when I watch football a lot of the time. Last season, he's causing havoc. He may not be finishing the chances, but he's roughing up defenders. He's running in behind. He's getting shots off. I'm not even seeing that now. Do you think that's a confidence issue within himself, or do you think it's a system thing?
I don't know. I actually don't know. It may be a system thing because I think in terms of like the wide forwards, they're not as close to him anymore. So he's not able to bounce off of players, or whenever he does something or gets the second ball or something, he needs to win the second ball as well because no one is as close to him to collect that second ball for him. So I think it might be a system issue, but also himself, bro. He's just not good enough. We have to say that as well. He's not good enough to lead a line for a top club. I think Darwin would be very good at like a level below. I think that's his level where he can thrive, where he can actually show himself, where teams will play to his strengths. And even me saying that, I do feel like we play to his strengths a lot of time as well. But even like some passes to pass it wide, he overhits it. Simple passes, he overcooks it. It's just the simple things he's not doing right. And I feel like last season, where people say like Liverpool flopped, Liverpool did whatever, I put the vast majority on our defense, fair enough, but him as well. He completely stopped doing what he's supposed to do. He stopped scoring easy chances, stopped getting into positions to score. And this season, he's not even getting into the positions to score, bro. He's just like running around doing nothing. So for me, Darwin needs to be replaced. I think Jota, he's obviously when he's fit again, he'll be a number one, he'll be our main striker, but we can't rely on him. Every little thing, he gets injured. You know what I mean? So I feel like we need to get another forward that's able to play the 9 position as well in January. I don't know if we'll do that, but Darwin, I want to see the back of him in the summer, man. 100%, man, because he's not, like Toe said, he's not going to take it to the promised land. And I think when Salah loses form and he ends up not scoring again, he puts the ball on a plate for people, and Darwin is the one that the chances fall to. We're stressed again. And then what happened last season is going to happen again. Because last season, I feel like we only lost... People forget, we only lost 4 times last season, you know. We didn't lose like 6-7 games. We lost 4 games, bro. The rest we drew. Yeah. The draws should have been turned into wins for us to be at least closer to City. You know what I mean? The draws, bro, if you think about the game that we lost against Crystal Palace, the game that we drew against Villa and Everton.
Oh, yeah.
The big chances that Darwin had those games, bro.
Did you draw the Luton game?
Luton as well. Yeah, that was in
that
was in December. Luton as well. We drew that game. He had 2 big chances, bro. 100% chances. So he's not the one to take us forward. I've been a Darwin backer, but for now, I have to concede defeat in that one because if we're gonna maintain our form up from after Christmas, we need to get a better 9 in. Or Jota needs to stay fit. That's it.
Yeah. I think the difficulty will be obviously with Champions League, although you've won 4 from 4 and you're looking like you're going to go through automatically. When it gets to the knockout, managing that, obviously, and the Prem. And if you're having to pick a game, like where do you focus or where do you... Because we know Jota likes to break down a lot. He gets injured. Some of it's unfortunate. Some of it you got to say maybe it's him, but you have to prioritize at some points or just hope he doesn't get injured, because I agree with you. I don't think Darwin's at it. And, you know, if you need a player to finish these chances, to turn draws into wins, Darwin ain't your man. So it'll be interesting to see what you do in January, because I think Slot would have never imagined he'd be in this position. We'll see where you are, you know, come the new year. But to think you are, 8 points clear at the minute, could be 11 points clear if you beat City next week. This is an opportunity that you can't really turn down.
Yeah, I say for me, I've been pretty open about it that, you know, we need to play the City game and then I can be like, yo, if we're going to win the league or not. To be honest, man, I've seen a lot and enough from my team to think that if we beat City, we are definitely winning the league. I can already say that. Put the red ribbons on the side. Know what I mean? Book the parade bus. Know what I mean? In May, we're winning the league. I'm 100%.
They're gonna clip this, you know. They're clipping this up right now.
I'll clip it myself. We're winning the league, bro. If we beat City, if we draw and maintain the points gap, obviously it depends what Arsenal does as well. But yeah, I will not be as confident, but I'll still be confident. I think either way, whatever happens, 8 points gap, like you said, we can't let it slip. I don't care how early it is. I don't care how many games still need to be played. the record shows that teams that have been at this point of the season with this points gap, they've gone on to win the league. There's only been 1 or 2 teams that haven't done it. So let's be on the good side of history, innit? So, I mean, yeah, man, it's for us to lose, basically, at this point. That's how I see it.
Well, last question, yeah. What do you make of your run? Obviously, you've got City. You've got Real Madrid, City. I'm sure you've got Newcastle away. You've got Everton coming up away, which, look, Everton aren't the best, but it's a Merseyside derby. It's the last one at Goodison Park, so their fans will be up for it. You've got a Carabao Cup quarterfinal. Like, the games are coming thick and fast. What's your kind of, like, estimate for it? Like, do you think you're going to go through those games and win? Do you think you'll drop points?
I think, look, Madrid and City are the only 2 teams where I can excuse us not winning. I'm not saying we should lose because they're both at home, but I can excuse us drawing those games because it's, first of all, Madrid, we all know we don't beat these Donnies, and City is City, innit? In regards to Everton and Newcastle away, our away form this season has been we've not lost a game away so far this season, in Europe, Carabao Cup, or in the league. Everton, Newcastle, I feel like we should beat them. We should beat them. If we can't beat them, we shouldn't lose. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But I feel like we should beat at least one of them. If it's not Newcastle, beat Everton and draw the other, or vice versa. In regards to Madrid, City, boy, I don't know, man. I think Madrid, we're playing them at a wrong time, and I feel like if we played them before the international break, I would have been more confident of a dub. I think they've won their game this evening as well, and they're resting players as well, so they'll be up for it. They need a win as well in this Champions League, so that'll be a good game. But City, man, we can't lose, man. If we're serious about winning this league, if we're serious about maintaining the gap, Arsenal, they looking to go on a run as well. They have some easy fixtures as well. So we need to manage that. So we need to make sure that we don't lose the City game. I think against Madrid, we can lose, but I don't want to lose home games. Every home game, I feel like we need to win. But against City, we need to win, man. And against Newcastle and Everton, just don't lose, man. Win one and don't lose the other. I don't care which one it is, what way around, but win one, don't lose the other, man. And yeah, man. Because the first half of the hard games of our hard runs, we saw that through. So now's the second part. So let's see, man. 1920 all over again. Book it.
We've got you coming up. Don't forget, December. I think it's December the 22nd. I'm going to the game, man. It's at White Hart Lane. So let's see you then.
Spurs is light, man. We got you.
Well, like up at last season.
All right, let's move on, man. All right, last game of the evening was obviously Ipswich versus Man United. Amorim ball for the first time. Away at Ipswich, on paper, you would be like, it'll be a good game for Amorim to come in and collect his first dub. Amorim ain't lost the game since, what would they say? Like, since something, like for a long time, basically.
Something
like,
mad, yeah.
Something mad. So he's not used to losing in it or dropping points for that matter. Plays Ipswich. Probably the Portuguese version of Ipswich is probably Estoril or Casapia, them teams there. Fam, welcome to the Prem, Amorim. 1-0 draw. I'm seeing Ahmed playing wing back. I mean, what have you made of it? I know it's one game in, so we can't draw too many conclusions, but it's safe to say Amorim got his work cut out.
I don't know if that was Ten Hag in the dugout, bro, because we went Turkey and got a little hair transplant, because it might as well have been the same team playing out there, man. Like, I don't know. Obviously, I know they got the goal early in that, and he's not been in there for long and whatever else, and players have gone off for international duty, but despite getting off to a really good start, obviously Rashford with the goal, Ipswich were the better team. They dominated the game. They had the better chances. Anana made a few unreal saves, and if any team were going to win the game, you'd say it was Ipswich. You can see that, certain patterns he's trying to implement within the team. He's gone with his tried and trusted back three system. Ahmed right wing back. He did all right, to be fair. I don't know if that's his position that's going to stick, because he's not a wing back really, but I thought he did all right out there. But they looked like they lacked creativity. They didn't really have many ideas. But it's a process, right? They're still learning the way the manager wants them to play. He's still learning which players will fit his system the best way. But I wasn't that impressed with it, man. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, same, man. It definitely looked like, I don't know. For me, yeah, like what we've seen from United previously when they had new manager bounce, yeah, the players were up for it. And obviously when the first goal came, you thought like, yo, they're gonna be not, you know what I mean, going hard, going, running for the manager, trying to prove themselves for the manager. But you saw none of that. It was still all half-hearted. They pressed well for the first 5 to 10 minutes, but after that, after the goal even, that's when Leicester took the ascendancy and they started roughing up Ahmad. They started Garnacho as well, man. It's so frustrating. It's like defending against Garnacho must probably be the easiest thing. And if he gets past you, the keeper's is smoking a cigar as well because he's not scoring. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think Amorim, even like there's clips going around of like him like telling Zirkzee to, go for it, press. Zirkzee is doing what Zirkzee does best, man. Just trying to just playing that relaxed footy, just trotting around. So I don't know, man. Like I said, but there's been plenty of managers before him that try to work on his poison chalice, and he's got his work cut out, man. And I did say previously, man, is he sure about leaving Sporting for United? Is he sure? I don't know.
I mean, obviously, if we look at the 11, right, I don't even know how old Johnny Evans is. Is he 36, 37?
Bam.
You've got Mazraoui playing as a right centre back. Obviously, Delit's a new signing, so
good.
You can say he's maybe part of his plan. He's all right. Ahmad playing right wing back. He's really more of a winger. Dalot, really more of a right back playing left wing back. Eriksen, Casemiro. So there's a lot of players. And Rashford playing up front, which he ain't played up front for I don't know how long. He's been playing out wide for most of his career. So obviously him being up front when you've got two actual number 9s on the bench. I don't know whether that means he fancies Rashford more or whether that, I don't know. It doesn't really think that he's good in the kind of the 10 positions where Bruno and the Garnacho are playing. It's going to take time, right? And he's got to deal with the personnel that he's got. But I don't know if the players he has. There was a lot of talk before that back three system, it will suit United because they've got a lot of centre backs and I don't know if it does. I think Bruno was a bit anonymous. I think he looked a little bit lost in that position. Like he wasn't really. I know, like obviously Van Nistelrooy is gone now, but the little manager bounce you're talking about, Bruno kind of found a bit of form. And I think today he was a little bit anonymous. I don't know if Garnacho's got the technical ability to play in that position either. There was just a little bit of things that need tweaking, but obviously he seems to be quite fond of Mason Mount, who played in that position under Tuchel. Or no, Lampard or Tuchel played in that kind of like 10-ish position behind Havertz. So maybe that will be his man. Like, I don't know. You always find it sometimes when a new manager comes in, a player that kind of is being forgotten about will come through and become maybe the guy that you thought you were going to sign. And maybe that will be Mount, who knows? But he's going to need time, man. As you said, poison chalice. They've got obviously a lot of dead wood. They got a lot of men in there that aren't good enough, to be honest with you. And he's going to need time. He's going to need money. They've spent loads of money, but he's going to need to bring in his own players. And we'll have to see what happens with that. But you're going into a game, whether it be Ipswich or not, with Casemiro and Eriksen in the double pivot. I mean, the less said, the better. I'll be real.
Yeah, man. Shout out Ipswich as well. Good win. Good draw. Sorry. They could have got the win as well. But some inspiring goalkeeping from Onana. All right, let's move on, man. That was game.
I want to shout out Delap. I thought Amari Hutchinson was really good, but Delap, I thought proper handful.
He's techie,
proper
man.
Old school.
Yeah,
you know what it was, yeah? Obviously, his dad was known for his throw-ins and that, but he is a proper throwback number 9, bro. Strong, like puts himself about, like decent in the air. I think he should have scored, to be fair, but I was impressed with his all-round game, man. Like, because I think as a lone striker, when you're playing against 3 defenders, albeit, Johnny Evans and whatever else, and Mazraoui is more of a fullback, it's difficult sometimes. But he was about today, man. Even the little shove in the corner, and I love all that, like just fighting. So, yeah, man, I've been impressed with him even when we played them last week, and he bullied Romero, bullied Van der Ven that game. So he's been doing really well, man. I think he's got 6 Premier League
man.
goals this season. Should have probably had another one today. So yeah, I was impressed with him, man. I think they'll stay up. I honestly do. I think out of all the newly promoted teams, they've got the balance between, because I think Southampton, possession wise, they keep the ball and things like that. I think Ipswich have got a bit of both. They can play, but they also got the other side of the game, which I think you need.
Yeah.
Like not being so easy to beat, so easy to break down. I think they've got the balance just about right. They've impressed me the most out of Leicester, Southampton. They've impressed me the most. So.
Yeah, facts, man. Shout out Kieran McKenna. Game week 12, man. That was it. Yeah, man. I think Arsenal, Liverpool, big winners. Spurs as well. Obviously climbed a few positions up in the league. Yeah, let's move on to some other topics then. Obviously, at the start of the international break, I think it was the Monday, as soon as the weekend's games finished, there was a video that came out that was making circulations on X about David Coote and him making some remarks about Jurgen Klopp, about Liverpool, say that Jurgen Klopp is a C word and he doesn't like Liverpool. But Milner's all right, but doesn't like Liverpool Football Club, doesn't like Jurgen Klopp. And that all coincided with him reffing the game previously. What game was that? What game was that game? What's the Liverpool game that he did?
Villa, I think it was. Villa?
Liverpool Villa, yes. Saturday night evening, Liverpool Villa. That was his first game being a Liverpool officiator. I didn't even know this for like 4 or 5 years because he did a mazine. He did a mazine that made them not put him on Liverpool duty for the foreseeable future until then. And even then, he still tried to do a mazine in that game, innit? So then that video got leaked, and now it's a whole mazine. He's been suspended. They're still looking into it. What do you think? Because before you go, yeah, like I listened to that Gary Neville's podcast, and I don't really rate that podcast too tough, but I just listened to it for the awful takes from Gary, specifically Gary, because he's awful, that guy. And he was saying that, yeah, he shouldn't be punished, and there's no evidence of him tampering with like Liverpool. Why should he be taken off the Liverpool games? And they should just what do you think?
Well, firstly, yeah, let's just be real. We all have opinions. We're all football fans. Whether you're a Premier League referee, a postman, you know what I mean? We've all got, well, if you like football, you've got an opinion on football. Now, he works closely with players, managers across the Premier League. He'll have opinions, of course. But you can't be going out and your opinions being said in public, being recorded. He's obviously gone out, gone to an afters, it's lockdown. He's had a little bit of, whatever. And he's just got a bit gassed. So first things first, should never officiate in the Premier League again. And it's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Now, I don't necessarily buy the fact that he has purposely done things to affect Liverpool results. But now now you might have a different opinion. You're a Liverpool fan, right? But I don't think he's purposely done that. However, that can now be questioned because there are certain decisions where you think, hang on, he was the ref or he was the VAR. That was a dodgy decision. And then when you start to ask the question and you start to, is there a conspiracy? And I think when that comes in, then you have to kind of think, well, as the Premier League, if you've hidden something, then straight away the conduct or I can't think of the word. What's the word? Not the authenticity, but do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, is it genuine? Like you have to look at the Premier League and think, well, the
integrity.
You've done that because the integrity. That's the word. You have to look at the Premier League and say you've done that on purpose because you know that there's backlash and you know this. You try to cover it up. So what else are you covering up? What else do we not know about that might come out in? So the whole integrity of the Premier League is out the window. So if he comes back to officiate in the Premier League, you might as well pack it up and call it a day. That's first things first. He can never ever come back. But I know you're gonna say, I know Liverpool fans across the world because I've got Liverpool fans as friends, and the first thing they said is, fixed. They come in with clips from back in 2020, this video, that video. There's a whole list, there's a whole thread. You'll see, I'm sure you've seen them. So I don't know, man. I don't know whether he's purposely done that, but listen, subconsciously, if you have a thing against the club or a manager or he's spoken, let's be honest, no one really likes Jurgen Klopp. I don't anyway. You probably love him, but the point is, maybe subconsciously you would think, actually no, because I don't really like you. So I don't know, man. What do you think?
Yeah, no. But the thing is, like, I hear what you're saying. Obviously, I think from Liverpool fans, it's just agenda. But the list of like decisions that's been made, whether he's been on VAR or whether he's been like the ref, is low key mad. And it's not even just like, because I saw someone else make a list of like decisions he made in other games as well. I think first of all, he's just a poor ref in general. But like, if you're coming out to say like you hate Liverpool, this or that, you hate Jurgen Klopp, and then if we're doing the maths, since then and before that, the decisions you've made in a 4 or 5 year stretch, the PGMOL have not put you as VAR duty for Liverpool or for Liverpool games. It says something, you know what I mean? Why did they do it? They need to come out and explain that now, because no one's really clocked why, but they need to come out and explain that. Second of all, in games that would affect Liverpool directly, and I'm gonna go again to 22-23, our quadruple season, the handball Rodri and the Everton game. That was clear as day, bro. He was the ref, fam. That was clear as day, bro. And that, because obviously we knew if Everton gets the penalty there, Everton wins the game, Liverpool wins the league. Facts. Bro, so it's things like that where obviously as Liverpool fans, we can think like, yo, this Don is conspiring against us because Jurgen Klopp at you years ago. Bro, come on, man. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to believe that he's like against Liverpool. I don't want to believe that, but maybe things have happened, and we're all humans. You can admit it. Come out and admit it, bro. Yeah, Liverpool, they're always horrible to me. They're richer than me. He took my girl, something like that. Come out and say you're human. We'll forgive you, bro. The only thing is you can't ref a game in the Premier League anymore. Do I think like he needs to be stripped of his refereeing license or whatever? No. Just go do League 2, maybe Championship, Conference, or go to another country or something. But in terms of Premier League, where you can affect my FC with your bias in your head, that shouldn't be a possibility, man. Even like refereeing other games that could affect my team, that shouldn't be a possibility. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. The Rodri one was the standout one. I know there was, I think I remember seeing the Pickford Van Dijk tackle, even the one recently, the Salah one.
The Odegaard handball, he was on VAR, bro.
Odegaard handball. Yeah, there was a few. There's a few, and I can understand it, right? I can understand it. But I think, for me, it's like, how many times has it happened to other clubs? Do you know what I mean? We've all been done by VAR. Do you know what I'm saying? The Luis Diaz goal without the lines, who was on VAR that day? That stitched you up when we played against you last season at the Lane. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't David Coote, and that was a madness. So it's like, there's always going to be little things where you're going to say, the fundamentals are, the refs are just crap. The refs are rubbish. There's not been I can't remember any real major incidents of late, but most of the time they're rubbish. And I think it's more them. But yeah, as you said, it calls the integrity into question. Fans are going to have every right to look back and think, hang on, this is not adding up. One and one ain't making two, and obviously it becomes a problem. So yeah, he can't ref in the Prem again. And it's listen, you man that go out, man, and go to afters and get on the drugs and all these things, but this is what happens. You lose your job. You got a nice job. You're a Prem ref. I see all the man flying out to Thailand, got bare things with them, like getting photographed and that. It's mad. Just, I don't know. He went mad. I can't lie. But at the same time, in all seriousness, like, I hope he's all right though, man, because some of the abuse and things like that he's been getting, like, Lord knows, obviously, you don't want to see a man take his life, and he hasn't, in it. But I hope that he's all right. Obviously, mental health is real. So, but yeah, listen, 100. A mistake, as you said, come out, apologize, and keep it moving.
100, man. And let's move on to another topic as well that kind of gathered pace in the international break, which was Gary Neville criticizing Marcus Rashford and Casemiro for going away to America during the international break. Let me quote him what he said on his podcast. He said he has got a mental break. He's got to get away and has got to get rest with his friends. Then you talk about the choice of venue. How far do you fly? What's the time difference? Is that going to give you a jet lag issue? Is that going to give a stiffness issue from being on a flight for 12 hours? They have chosen that international break. If you're talking about the minor details and being professional as you can be and be as prepared as you can be for a training session on a Monday night, then this isn't the best choice of venue. That's what Gary Neville said at the time. I think since then he's apologized because he spoke to Ruben Amorim and he kind of put things in perspective for him. But first of all, like, if the club is giving you time, they had, like, first of all, he's not an international. He didn't go for England camp, so he had a good week off. Apparently, they get 5 days off. If he goes to, I think he went to New York, which is the East Coast, which is a 6-hour flight. Same, it's not even a 6-hour flight, and also a 6-hour time difference, which is not even that mad. Why are you, as Gary Neville, the scrutiny, the Wahala, Marcus Rashford, he's a player of a club that you support. I don't understand the comment and why he made that comment. I don't get it, honestly. And if Rashford decides to go to America, do you think that he's just going there to go to a strip club, basketball, beat porn stars? Do you think he's just gonna do that? He's a professional, bro. I'm sure he's out there training or doing what he needs to do and eating properly as well. Like, I found that so ridiculous from Gary Neville, and I'm happy that he come out and apologize. Honorable things to do, but yeah, where do you stand on that?
Obviously, as you said, Rashford does come under a lot of scrutiny. We know about his previous behaviour, when he went on the bender and, it was all reported and it was all, in the papers and things like that. And we know that Rashford's had a few issues off the pitch. I remember it might have been the international break before this one where he was filmed doing one-to-one training sessions and he was like going through his paces and doing finishing and running and different things, and that was highlighted. So I think the fact that the previous one he was doing that, and then this time round a new manager's obviously come in and he's gone to America, it's kind of maybe been highlighted more. Obviously, like, I can see why, as a player, he's one of the highest paid players at the club, a new manager's come in, you should maybe want to not go somewhere as far, if you like, because you want to come back fresh and impress him or whatever else. Maybe there is a time difference or whatever, but he's a grown man, right? He knows his responsibilities. Sometimes it's good to get away. Your life can't revolve around football. To recharge, sometimes the best thing to do is to switch off from football completely, and maybe he felt like that was the best thing for him to do at the time. And I think it wasn't the case of the last international break. Like I said, he went away, and then this one he's gone away. So whatever happens internally between the clubs and the club and the player is exactly that. And I think sometimes Neville was a bit too inner. He likes to get involved and things like that.
Yeah.
However, I do understand where he's coming from because he's a fan. He's speaking emotionally from a fan's perspective. And if it was me, if I had a player that was underperforming, let's say, and he's one of the highest paid players at my club, and he wasn't, like, I'll give you an example. Let's say it was Ndombele from when we had him previously. Signed obviously for big money, slightly different because obviously Rashford's come through the academy, but signed for big money, highest paid player, and rather than be at the training ground, he jetted off somewhere. I'd be like, what's he doing? Like, why is he at a basketball game in his Chrome Hearts hat and his bling and he's doing all this? I'd be the same way. So I think sometimes Neville forgets the position that he's in. Sometimes he speaks from a fan rather than speaking from a person who's obviously a pundit. And the emotion sometimes comes out of him. Fundamentally, he's a grown man. He's gone on holiday to refresh, recharge the batteries, have a bit of downtime, and then he's obviously come back and reported for training. And he started today and scored. So, it kind of puts it to bed a little bit.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear as well, because Gary Neville did an interview with Amorim prior to the game, and Amorim was like, he would never authorize players to have 5 days off, even though they don't have international commitments, which is pretty interesting to hear. And he was just like, this was decided before me, so I can't say anything about it. As long as he comes back, he's fresh, whatever, it's all good. But yeah, I think, like you said, man.
I don't think players should be able to go for, like, I think, and if you are going away, because listen, as I said, your life can't revolve around football all the time. You need to recharge. We're humans, right? We look at these people as footballers. They're human beings. They're just like us. They drink water. They sleep.
Exactly.
I mean, they do the same things that we do. So they shouldn't be treated any differently. But I do think at the same time, there needs to be a level of professionalism. And, you know, if a new manager's come into the club and you're trying to turn things around because the previous manager's been sacked, then the more information you're getting from the new manager and his way of playing and how he wants to do things, the better. So I kind of see it from both sides. And it's interesting to hear that Amorim wouldn't have that. I think it kind of gives you a bit of insight for United fans, how things are going to run, how maybe they've run previously and how they're going to run now.
Yeah, facts, man. All right, man. Let's head over to the bar, man. Any shots?
Brother, I need a little, you know what? I've got bare shots. I can't lie, but by the time I finish today, I want to be lit. Bare shots. I'm leaving my car in the car park, get a little Uber yard because, listen, I want a shot for Kulusevski. Yeah. Because this season, for me, been the best player in the league. You might argue it. You might say other players. Yeah. You call it outrageous. Been the best player in the league this season. Because even in times where we've not performed, he stood up and performed in near enough every game this season. And he's found a new role. But even yesterday when he went back out to the right, he put in a 9 out of 10 performance. He never stops running. He runs his socks off. He puts his foot in. He's a constant threat. He's a constant menace. He's becoming a real leader in the team. He captained Sweden the other day. Like he's really coming into himself now. It's almost like he is his team. You've seen almost like a passing of the baton from Son, because I think Son's on his way out to Kulusevski to be the man in the team. So one shot for him. One shot for James Maddison. Scored more goals than a lot of men have done this season at the Etihad. Phil Foden, I'm talking to you. Yeah. Bernardo Silva, I'm talking to you. Kevin De Bruyne, I'm talking to you. Albeit you've been injured for a little bit, but nevertheless, I thought it was amazing yesterday. He's been in and out the side. People have been questioning him. People have been questioning whether he's good enough to play for the club. No better way to come back, bro. No better way to show, listen, I'm still a top-class player and I'm better. He said it himself after the game. This team is better with me in it than without me in it. And he showed that yesterday. So big shout out to him. Ben Davis. Do you know what? Ben Davis and Dragusin. Yeah, both of them as a pairing.
Yeah, both.
Yeah. We saw them a few weeks ago play against Galatasaray in the Europa League. And Osimhen pulled their pants down. And that's why I was thinking, Lord have mercy, when we play against Haaland on Saturday, it's going to be a long day. But they absolutely dominated the back line. Listen, I'm not going to say it was perfect, but it was the closest thing to perfect. The way they dealt with Haaland, the way they pushed up, the way they even played with the ball. Punching passes through the lines, trying to play forward, trying to do the right things, kept composure, won headers. I see Ben Davis winning headers. Honestly, the two of them together, unbelievable performance for both of them. So they both deserve a shot. Pedro Porro, my right back, best right back in the league now. Let me not do that, but Pedro Porro, again, solid performance, capped off with an unbelievable finish against his old club, never made an appearance for them, came back to the Etihad and showed them Wagwan. And finally, my last one, I'm a bit wavy right now, everything's spinning, but my last one, Ange Postecoglou. And the reason I give it to Ange is because there is a split amongst the fan base. And I said this a few weeks ago on the pod. I would say it's 50-50, no lie. You go onto social media, you'll see it. And not even just social media. You're in group chats. I'm in a few Tottenham group chats. People don't like Ange, right? Because they think he's stubborn. They think he's not able to adapt. They think he's got one way of playing. He's got no plan B. And the biggest criticism of Ange is that he can see it's going wrong, but he's stubborn in terms of it's just how we are. It's just the way we're going to play. But I saw a slight tweak. And tactically, I thought yesterday was unbelievable. We still played our way. We still tried to play through and try to create chances, but we were a little bit more dogged defensively. We were a little bit more compact. There wasn't gaps everywhere. We condensed the centre of the pitch and we'd let them go wide. Go wide. If you want to go wide, go wide. Cross the ball in, we'll deal with it. And when we get it, we're going to keep it. We're going to be brave and we're going to play through the press. And I think he deserves so much credit for how he set the team up and all this talk about, it's happening again and Tottenham, they're falling out with the manager and the players aren't playing for him. just shut the whole thing down. So I've got to take my hat off to Ange. Please, though, 3 points against Fulham. That's all I ask. But yeah, man. So I think that's 5 or 6 shots. That's me done, man.
Yeah, man. That's you done for the night. I got 2 shots, man. 2 shots real quick. My first shot goes for Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur. Thank you very much for putting in a dagger for at least, let me not say nailing the coffin, but at least buying the coffin. You bought the coffin right now. So we went shopping. We went to the, what do you call them, man, that sell coffins? I don't know. But you went to them, man. You picked out a nice coffin for them. Yeah, that one, the black one with a gold Jesus cross. That one. You just keep it there. Who you buying it for? Don't worry about it. Just give me it. Because obviously, big win. City, again. Personally, I think Arsenal, they're not catching us. But City are City. I'm putting immense amount of respect on City. So the more teams take points from City, the better. And this will definitely knock their confidence, man. And they're going to think twice before they come to Anfield now. So shout out Spurs for the dub. It's made my weekend fantastic. But then my second shot goes to Mohamed Salah, man. Again, best player in the league. I think on form, best player in the world right now. I mean, Liverpool fans, I don't know if you've seen it online, but Liverpool fans are screaming Ballon d'Or. Liverpool fans are screaming Ballon d'Or form. Ballon d'Or 2025 might go Salah's way because there's no international tournament that might shag him or for anyone else to take the limelight in an international tournament and collect. So we all have to do it with our club football. You get me? So in terms of that, Salah is he's carrying the torch for us now. And you know, I've got again every week my shot goes for Salah, man. But I've got nothing more to say about him, man. And you know, them man that like to play Salah down by saying he's boring, all he does is score goals, he has no flair. It's just bullshit and just full of hate. To say Salah, and I'm talking to Shalom here, to say Salah has no flair. I mean, people in TikTok, they were at him anyway, man. So I don't even have to do it. People will do it for you. But to say Salah has no flair, that means you don't watch football, man. But yeah, man, Mohamed Salah, man, he's gonna smash plenty of records again this season. I think he surpassed Henry already with the assists. He might surpass him with a goal and the assist this season as well. He's 10 behind. So yeah, man, Mohamed Salah again, man. I think this is like 3 or 4 times I've taken a shot on your name, man. So thank you very much. Yeah, we've reached the end of the show. Please like, subscribe, and follow us on the VARBAR podcast. Follow us on the socials, VARBAR podcast on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe, like. My name is Andrew, aka Rapping Drew, joined by my compadre Strizza. We are the VBP boys, man. We out. Peace.
Let's.